decreased by 10%, and risk tolerance increased, with 86% of participants choosing to partake in a game of chance. After adopting a low-power pose for 2 minutes, testosterone decreased by 10%. Cortisol increased by 15%, and risk tolerance decreased, with only 60% of participants choosing to partake in a game of chance. As you can see, you can actually change the way you feel merely by changing your body posture or facial expression. It is what some people call, fake it until you make it. For instance, you can put a smile on your face to make you feel happier. Conversely, you can negatively affect your mood and even create a depression by changing your body posture. David K. Reynolds, in his book Constructive Living, explained how he changed his identity for his alter ego, David Kent, and created a depressed, suicidal patient. The goal was to be accepted as an anonymous patient into various psychiatric facilities to assess them from the inside. Note that he wasn't simulating depression, he was actually depressed. Psychological tests proved it. Here is how he created depression. Depression can be created by sitting slouched in a chair, shoulders hunched, head hanging down. Repeat these words over and over. There's nothing anybody can do. No one can help. It's hopeless. I'm helpless. I give up. Shake your head, sigh, cry. In general, act depressed and the genuine feeling will follow in time. David K. Reynolds, Constructive Living. The benefits of exercising. According to Michael Otto, professor of psychology at Boston University, failing to exercise when you feel bad is like explicitly not taking an aspirin when your head hurts. When the time came for David Kent to bring David K. Reynolds back to life, what do you think he needed to do? He needed to change his body position. Easy to say but hard to do when you're clinically depressed. Of course, he knew that better than anybody else. Still, he had to force himself to become physically active, despite not wanting to do so. As he started increasing his physical activity and getting busy, he felt better and better until he fully recovered. David Kent's story shows that regular exercising improves, not only your physical well-being, but also your mood. Studies have shown that exercising can treat mild to moderate depression as effectively as antidepressants. In one study, James Blumenthal, a clinical psychologist at Duke University, assigned sedentary adults with major depressive disorders to one of 4 groups: supervised exercise, home-based exercise, antidepressant therapy, or a placebo pill. After 4 months, Blumenthal found that patients in the exercise and antidepressant group had the highest rates of remission. In his conclusions, he stated that exercise has more or less the same effect as antidepressants. When he followed up with the same patients a year later, Blumenthal discovered that people who were still exercising regularly had lower depression scores than people who only exercised sporadically. Exercise seems to not only help treat depression, but also to prevent relapse. So, when it comes to mastering your emotions, make sure exercising is part of your toolbox. Fortunately, you don't have to run 10 miles a day to reap the benefits of exercise. Simply walking for 30 minutes, 5 days a week can work wonders. According to research published in PLOS Medicine, 2.5 hours moderate exercise a week could add 3.25 years to your lifespan. Another study of 5,000 people in Denmark showed that individuals who exercised regularly lived 5 to 7 years longer than sedentary counterparts. As for the benefits of exercising on your mood, they are both immediate and long-term. Professor of Psychology, Michael Otto, says you usually derive a mood enhancement effect within 5 minutes of partaking in moderate exercise. And, as we've just seen, exercising regularly improves your long-term mental health and can be as effective as antidepressants. What about you? What activity are you going to take on to improve your mental and physical health? 6. Using your thoughts to influence your emotions. You become what you think about all day long. RLPH Waldo Emerson, essayist and poet. Your thoughts define who you are and create your reality. That's why you should channel your thoughts towards what you want, not what you don't want. As the success expert Brian Tracy says, the key to success is to focus our conscious mind on things we desire, not things we fear. The benefits of meditation. In Buddhism, the mind is often referred to as the monkey mind, because Buddhists believe human thoughts are similar to a monkey relentlessly swinging through trees. They are all over the place and never seem to stop. Meditation helps tame the monkey and cure it of restlessness. As you meditate, you become aware of the incessant flow of thoughts popping into your mind. With practice, you learn to distance yourself from thoughts, reducing their power and their impact. As a result, you'll experience less negative emotions and feel more at peace. The benefits of visualization. Did you know your subconscious can't clearly distinguish real experiences from fake ones? This means you can trick your mind by simulating desired experiences through visualization. The more details you visualize, the more your brain will interpret the experience as real. By using visualization to elicit positive feelings such as gratitude, excitement, or joy, you can condition your mind to experience more positive emotions, as we'll see in more depth in the section, Conditioning Your Mind. 7. Using your words to influence your emotions. Your words have more impact on your thoughts and behaviors than you might realize. Because your thoughts, words, and behaviors are all interconnected, they influence each other. For instance, when you lack confidence, you use certain words such as, "I'll try," "I hope," or "I wish." Conversely, using specific words can make you feel less confident. This also means you can boost your confidence by using certain words such as, "I will." For instance, saying, "I will change career," or "I will complete this project by the end of this month," will make you feel more confident than saying, "I hope I can change career," or "I'll try to complete this project by the end of this month." To enhance your confidence, replace words that show self-doubt with words that display confidence as shown below. Words to be avoided: would / could / should / might try / hope / wish. Maybe / perhaps. If everything is okay. If everything goes well. Words to be used instead: I will. Absolutely. Definitely. Of course. Sure. Certainly. Obviously. Without any doubt. No problem. The power of positive affirmations. Positive affirmations are sentences you repeat to yourself on a regular basis until your subconscious mind accepts them as true. Over time they help you condition your mind to experience positive emotions such as confidence or gratitude. For more information on how to condition your mind, refer to the section, Conditioning Your Mind. How to use positive affirmation. Use the present tense and not the future tense, I am, not, I will. Avoid negative forms like, I am not shy. Instead, use, I am confident. Repeat the sentence again and again for 5 minutes. Do it every single day without exception for a month, and preferably longer. Use visualization at the same time and involve your emotions. Some examples of powerful affirmations: I love being confident. I am independent of the good or bad opinions of others. I am beneath no one and no one is beneath me. I love you. Add your name and say it while looking into your eyes in the mirror, e.g., I love you, Thibaut. Awkward, isn't it? Thank you. Exercise. Use positive affirmation for 5 minutes daily. Notice words that show a lack of commitment, confidence, or assertiveness. Go over your emails before you send them and remove phrases such as, I'll try, I should, I hope, etc. Replace them with, I will, or something equally assertive. For the next 3 weeks, challenge yourself to avoid using words showing a lack of confidence. Additional tip: the world-famous life coach, Tony Robbins, has been using what he calls incantation for decades before meeting a client or holding a seminar. He uses both his body and certain phrases to put himself in the right state and to reach a level of absolute certainty. As you perform your own affirmations, try engaging your body as well. Remember, your words and your body affect your emotions. 8. How your breathing affects your emotions. You can stay without food or sleep for days, but you cannot survive past a few minutes without oxygen. While breathing should happen naturally, the truth is that many people don't know how to breathe properly. As a result, they don't generate as much energy as they could. These individuals tire more easily than others, which affects their mood and make them more prone to experience negative emotions. Proper breathing benefits you in different ways. Slowing your breathing helps reduce anxiety. In breath walk, breathing your way to a revitalized body, mind and spirit, Guru Charan Singh Khalsa and Yogi Bhajan mentioned the following benefits from slow breathing: 8 breathing cycles per minute, relief from stress and increased awareness. For breathing cycles per minute, intense feelings of awareness, increased visual clarity, heightens bodily sensitivity. 1 breathing cycle per minute, optimized cooperation between brain hemispheres, dramatic calming of anxiety, fear, and worry. Rapid breathing such as the breath of fire, allows you to release stress, be more alert and have more energy alongside with other benefits. You can watch a tutorial video here. For a more general overview on how to breathe properly, I invite you to watch the video here. For more on how to use breathing to change your mood, you can refer to Breath Walk, Breathing Your Way to a Revitalized Body, Mind and Spirit, or search out other books on breathing. 9. How your environment affects your emotions. Your environment also influences the way you feel. By environment, I mean everything around you can affect you in some way. It could be people you hang out with, TV shows you watch, or the place you live. For instance, negative relatives may drag you down, while a messy desk may be demotivating. I've noticed that when I feel demotivated, decluttering my desk, cleaning my room, or reorganizing files on my computer often gives me a boost of motivation. For more on how you can use your environment to change your emotions, see the section, Changing Your Environment. 10. How music affects your emotions. We all know music affects our mood. Who hasn't listened to Rocky's song while working out? For instance, music can help you relax when you're tired, motivate you when you're in a slump, help you persevere when you're at the gym, help you access feelings of gratitude, and put you in a positive mood state. Some studies have shown that listening to positive music can help people boost their mood. In a study conducted in 2012, participants reported higher positive mood after listening to a positive song for just 12 minutes, 5 times, over a 2-week period. Interestingly, it only worked with participants who were told to make an effort to boost their mood. Other participants didn't report such mood improvement. Another study conducted in 2014 showed that music can help reduce negative mood and boost self-esteem as indicated below. Specifically, the most significant results of the music interventions on the psychological side can be identified in the aspects more closely related to mood, especially in the reduction of the depressive and anxieties component, and in the improvement of the emotional expression, communication and interpersonal skills, self-esteem and quality of life. Valerie N. Stratton, Ph.D. and Annette H. Zalanowski, of Penn State University, also studied the effect of music on mood. They asked their students to keep music diaries for 2 weeks. Stratton concluded that, not only did our sample of students report more positive emotions after listening to music, but their already positive emotions were intensified by listening to music. Interestingly, the music genre and the context in which students listened to the music didn't affect the result. Students' mood improved whether they listened to rock or classical music, or whether they were at home, driving, or socializing. Using music to condition your mind. You can go one step further and use the power of music to condition your mind by creating playlists tailored to your emotional needs. Building playlists is time-consuming, but well worth the effort. The world-class endurance athlete and coach, Christopher Bergland, uses music to help him stay motivated and perform at his best. This is what he wrote in an article published in Psychology Today. As an athlete, I developed an ideal mindset for peak performance and used an arsenal of time-tested songs to fortify this alter ego and invincible state of mind. During my training and races it became obvious that even in really horrible weather conditions, or when I was physically suffering, that I could use music, and my imagination, to create a parallel universe that had little to do with reality. I used music to stay optimistic and see the glass as perpetually half full while doing ultra-endurance races. You can use music as a tool when you work out or in your daily life the same way. Christopher also enjoys listening to specific songs before a big interview or when he does public speaking. Personally, I like to listen to songs that make me feel grateful. What about you? How can you use music to improve your mood? Exercise. Experiment with different types of music. Experiment with different types of music and see how you can use them to boost your mood. For instance, you could use music to help you meditate, work out, or do your homework. As you do so, keep the following points in mind. Everybody is different. Don't listen to a song because it's popular. Listen to it because it makes you feel the way you want to feel. We all have different musical tastes. The only thing that matters is how you feel when you listen to music. Keep experimenting, listen to different types of music and see how they make you feel. Are you inspired? Motivated? Happy? Relaxed? Start creating playlists for specific moods you want to experience. Action step. Use the workbook to design new strategies to better take control of your emotions. Section 2. What impact your emotions? Part 3. How to change your emotions. The mind always seeks to deny the now and to escape from it. In other words, the more you are identified with your mind, the more you suffer. Or you may put it like this: the more you are able to honor and accept the now, the more you are free of pain, of suffering, and free of the egoic mind. Eckhart Tolle, The Power or Now. In this section, we'll explore how you can deal with negative emotions and condition your mind to experience more positive ones. First, we'll discuss how emotions are formed. Then, we'll discuss the benefit of positive thinking and how to use it to condition your mind. After that, we'll see why positive thinking isn't enough and what else you can do to deal with negative emotions. More specifically, you'll learn how to let go of your emotions, how to change your story and create a more empowering one, how to condition your mind, how to use your behaviors to change your emotions, and how to modify your environment to reduce negative emotions. Finally, I'll share with you a list of short-term and long-term strategies you can use to better deal with negative emotions. Let's get started. 11. How emotions are formed. When a thought emerges on the canvas of your mind, if you don't drop it, its pursuit will either take the form of a desire or an emotion, positive or negative. O.M. Swami, A Million Thoughts. Few people know how emotions are formed. While we experience them all day long, we seldom, if ever, take time to understand why we are feeling certain emotions and how they came into existence. First, let's differentiate two types of negative emotions. The first type are the negative emotions you experience spontaneously. These are the emotions that keep you alive, such as the fear our ancestors felt when they encountered a saber-toothed tiger. The second type of negative emotions are the ones you create in your mind by identifying with your thoughts. These emotions aren't necessarily triggered by external events, although they may be. These emotions tend to last longer than the first type. Here is how they work. A random thought arises. You identify with that thought. This identification creates an emotional reaction. As you keep identifying with that thought, the related emotion grows stronger until it becomes a core emotion. Let's look at some examples. You have money problems, and each time your mind comes up with money-related thoughts you identify with them. As a result, your worry about money intensifies. You had an argument with your friend and fell out with him. You can't stop replaying the scene in your mind. As a result, months have passed and you still haven't called to make up with your friend. You made a mistake at work and are ashamed of yourself. You keep revisiting the same thought over and over. As a result, your feelings of inadequacy grow stronger. Your tendency to identify with negative thoughts repeatedly is what allows them to grow stronger. The more you focus on your financial challenges, the easier it will be for related thoughts to arise in the future. The more you replay the argument with your friend in your head, the stronger the feelings of resentment will grow. Similarly, as you keep thinking of the mistake you made at work, you invite feelings of shame and intensify the situation. The point is, when you give thoughts room to exist, they spread and become major points of focus. This simple process of identification allows seemingly inoffensive thoughts to take control of your mind. This identification with your thoughts, and more importantly, how you choose to interpret them, creates suffering in your life. Now, let's see in more detail how your emotions are formed. This will help you better deal with negative emotions while allowing positive emotions to grow. Here is a formula to explain how emotions form. Interpretation plus identification plus repetition equals strong emotion. Interpretation is when you interpret an event or a thought based on your personal story. Identification is when you identify with a specific thought as it arises. Repetition is having the same thoughts over and over. Strong emotion is when you experience an emotion so many times it has become part of your identity. You then experience that emotion whenever a related thought or event triggers it. Altogether, interpretation, identification and repetition give room for emotions to grow. Conversely, whenever you remove one of these elements from the equation, these emotions start losing their power over you. To sum up, for an emotion to grow in intensity and duration, you must first interpret an event or a thought, then, you must identify with that thought as it arises, finally, you must repeat the same thoughts again and again, and identify with it. Now, let's discuss in more depth each component of the formula. 1. Interpretation. Interpretation plus identification plus repetition equals strong emotion. Negative emotions always result from your interpretation of events. That's why two different people might react to the same event in different ways. One might be devastated, while the other might be unaffected. For instance, for a farmer rain could be a blessing, but for someone going on a picnic it would be seen as a curse. That's because of the meaning they give to the event. In short, for negative emotions to arise, you must add your interpretation to a specific event. The event in itself cannot trigger negative emotions without your consent. So, why do you keep experiencing negative emotions? I believe it's because reality fails to meet your expectations. You want reality to be one way, but it turns out to be another. You go on a picnic and want the weather to be good, but it rains. You want a promotion at work, but you don't get it. You want to make money with your side business, but it's not working. Your interpretation of reality creates suffering in your life. Reality in itself can never be upsetting. This is worth repeating. We'll discuss in depth how you can change your interpretation in the next section entitled, Changing Your Story. 2. Identification. Interpretation plus identification plus repetition equals strong emotion. Now, let's focus on the second part of the formula, identification. For an emotion to survive long-term, there must be a process of identification. Emotions cannot persist unless you give them your attention. The more you focus on your emotions, and identify with them, the more powerful they become. People often feel the urge to identify with their emotions and find themselves unable to disengage from them. They fail to realize one of the most important truths in this world: you are not your emotions. Your emotions will come and they will go. So, when you catch yourself saying, "I'm sad," remember you are incorrect. Nobody has ever been sad, because your emotions are not who you are. They can appear to be you, but they will soon disappear, like clouds in the sky. Think of yourself as the sun, and the sun is always there whether or not you perceive it, whether or not it's hidden by the cloud. You are not your emotions. You are not sad, you merely experience feelings that you may call sadness at a given point in time. This is an important point. I hope you can see the difference. Another way to see your emotions is as the clothes you wear. What emotional clothes are you wearing right now? Are they clothes of excitement? Depression? Sadness? Bear in mind, tomorrow, or a week from now, you will likely be wearing different clothes. How long you wear your clothes, your emotions, depends on how much you love them, i.e., how much you're attached to your emotions. An emotion in itself is powerless. What gives it power is your conscious or unconscious identification with it. That's why an emotion given no attention will eventually fade away. Try the following exercise: whenever you're angry, get busy with any activity requiring your full attention. You'll see your anger quickly dissipate. Conversely, keep dwelling on the feelings of anger, and you'll see it grow until it becomes one of your major emotional states. 3. Repetition. Interpretation plus identification plus repetition equals strong emotion. We've seen that the way you interpret an event or a thought determines how you feel. We also know that, as you identify with your thoughts or feelings, they become emotions. Now, if you keep repeating that process, you'll condition your mind to experience these specific emotions, positive or negative. For instance, if you focus your attention on what you believe your friend did to you, feelings of resentment will grow. As a result, you could hold a grudge for months. People often do this. They waste time holding on to negative emotions that serve no purpose just because they can't let go of them. Conversely, if you disengage from your thoughts of resentment and simply observe them, over time they will lose power and the associated resentment will fade away. In fact, if you had let go of the thought of resentment immediately after it arose, your feelings of resentment would have dissipated almost instantly. We'll see how you can let go of your emotion in the section, Letting Go of Your Emotions. Action Step. Resist negative emotions from the past using the workbook, Section 3. How to change your emotions. 1. How emotions are formed. Recall the last time you felt anger, sadness, frustration, fear, or depression. Now, write down what happens for each of the following: interpretation, what events happened and what thoughts arose. Identification, how did you respond to these thoughts? Repetition, did you identify with these thoughts repeatedly? 12. Changing your interpretation. The sight of a slaughterhouse may trigger a negative emotion in you, whereas it may be positive for the business owner and natural for the machine operator. It all depends on how you are conditioned. Om Swami, a million thoughts. In itself, an event or a thought has no power to alter your emotional state. What generates emotions is the way you choose to interpret the event or thought. This is why two people can react differently to the same situation. One will see a problem and blame external circumstances, while the other will see an opportunity to be embraced. One will get stuck, the other will grow. The way you interpret events is closely linked to general assumptions you hold about life. As such, it is essential we first delve into the underlying assumptions that lead to these interpretations. Exploring your assumptions. To enter a given emotional state, you made certain assumptions regarding how things should be. These assumptions constitute your subjective reality. Because you're convinced they are true, you don't question them. Below are some examples of assumptions you may have. Problems should be avoided. This is a problem. I should be healthy. I'll live at least until I'm 70. I must get married. Complaining is normal. There is nothing wrong with dwelling on the past. I need to worry about the future, and/or. Now, let's look at each one of these assumptions. Problems should be avoided. Many people want to get rid of their problems. But what if you can't, and what if you don't need to? For sure, some people have better problems than others, but everybody has problems. What if the assumption that you shouldn't have any problems is wrong? What if you need to learn how to dance in the rain and make the most of your problems? What if problems are just challenges to be overcome, and part of life? This is a problem, What if this thing you label as a problem is actually not a problem? What if it doesn't matter as much as you think? What if it's an opportunity in disguise? And how could you make it so? I should be healthy. We tend to take our health for granted, but we cannot guarantee we won't get sick tomorrow. What if your health is a blessing and not necessarily the default position? Wouldn't that make you think of your health in a different way? I'll live at least until I'm 70, you probably assume you'll live a long life, but what if that's not the case? Isn't living a long life a blessing rather than something you should take for granted? Unfortunately, some people die young, but that's the nature of reality. People say, he died too young, but is that correct? Isn't it more accurate to say that he just died? Neither too young nor too old. I must get married. Maybe, maybe not. That's just your interpretation. Shoulds are generally things society or your parents expect you to do, but it doesn't mean it has to be that way. These are often cultural norms or conditioned behaviors. Complaining is normal. Most complaining is a play of the ego and is not constructive. It doesn't help you and doesn't change anything. The only thing it does is strengthen your ego and offend people. Try to spend an entire week without complaining and see what happens. There is nothing wrong with dwelling on the past. You probably spend too much time dwelling on the past. Everybody does. But do you realize the past exists only in your mind? And do you realize you can't change it no matter what you do? Learning from your past is useful, dwelling on it isn't. I need to worry about the future. Worrying about the future is unavoidable to a certain extent, but it doesn't help. Instead, you should do the best you can in the present to avoid future problems. You don't need to have the perfect life to be happy. Happiness is a choice you need to make every day. You must practice it since, as we've seen before, external factors won't significantly affect your happiness. These are just some examples of assumptions you may hold. My intention here is to show you that your interpretations, and the emotions generated from them, are largely the result of the assumptions you hold about the world. Thus, to experience more positive emotions, it is important you spend time revising your assumptions. Analyzing your interpretations. As we've already seen, you interpret events based on your assumptions. Now, below are some questions to help you understand what I mean by interpretations. Do you think everything happens for a reason and embrace it, or do you play the victim? Do you believe temporary setbacks are just milestones that will lead you to succeed, or do you give up when you encounter your first major setback? Do you try to change things that cannot be changed, or do you accept them? Do you believe you're here for a reason, or do you wander through life without any clear purpose? Do you believe problems are bad and should be avoided, or do you believe they are a necessary part of life? Remember, what differentiates people who live a happy life from people who are miserable is often how they choose to interpret their lives. Action step. Write down interpretations of your emotions using the workbook, section 3. How to change your emotions, 2. Changing your story. Write down 1 or 2 emotional issues you currently have. Ask yourself, if I could get rid of some emotions, losing which ones would have the most positive impact on my life? Your interpretation of these issues. Ask yourself, what would I need to believe for my story to be true? New empowering interpretations that will help you deal with these issues. Ask yourself, what do I need to believe to avoid experiencing these negative emotions? 13. Letting go of your emotions. Emotions are just emotions. They are not you, they are not facts, and you can let them go. Hale Dworkin, the Sedona Method. As we've seen, interpretation, identification and repetition can lead to the creation of strong emotions. In this section, we'll see what you can do to start letting go of emotions that aren't helping you achieve the life you want. Emotions are energy in motion, but what happens when you prevent the energy from moving? It accumulates. When you repress your emotions, you interrupt the natural flow of energy. Sadly, nobody taught you how to deal with your emotions or even that both, positive and negative emotions, are a natural phenomenon. Instead, they told you that your negative emotions should be repressed because they are bad. As a result, you may have been repressing your emotions for years. By doing so, you let them sink deeper into your subconscious, allowing them to become part of your identity. They have often become patterns you may be unaware of. For instance, perhaps, you feel you aren't good enough. Or maybe you experience guilt on a regular basis. These are the results of core beliefs you developed over time by repressing your emotions. Most of us have too much emotional baggage and need to learn to let go of it. We need to declutter our subconscious and get rid of the negative emotions preventing us from enjoying life to the fullest. The fact is, your subconscious is already programmed to help you deal with life. Your subconscious ensures you don't accidentally forget to breathe, keeps your heart beating and regulates your body temperature among millions of other things. It doesn't need additional beliefs to function well. Neither does it need to store emotions. If you're like most people, you spend the majority of your time living in your head. As a result, you're largely out of touch with your emotions. To start letting go of your emotions, you must first become aware of them by becoming more in touch with your body and the way you feel. Below are a few simple steps you can take to start letting go of your emotions. 1. Observe your emotions with detachment. Whenever you experience a negative emotion, simply observe it with as much detachment as you can. That means getting in touch with your body. Realize that each thought or image crossing your mind isn't the emotion itself, it's only your interpretation of it. Practice feeling how it feels. Try to locate the emotion. Think of the way you would describe the emotion to someone else. Remember, don't engage in a story revolving around that emotion, and believe in whatever images or thoughts that arise when you experience that emotion. 2. Label your emotion. Remember, emotions are merely temporary experiences, or if you prefer, clothes you wear for a while. They aren't you. When you experience an emotion, you say things like, "I am angry," "I am sad," or "I am depressed." Notice how you instantly identify with your emotions. However, this is factually incorrect. The emotions you experience have nothing to do with who you really are. If you were your depression, you'll be depressed all day long every single second of your existence. Fortunately, that's not the case. Let's assume you feel sad. Rather than saying, "I'm sad," a more accurate way to describe that emotion would be, "I feel sad," or "I experience a feeling of sadness." Can you see how different it is from saying, "I'm sad"? It gives you more space to distance yourself from your emotions. The more you become aware of your emotions, the more you can label them and detach yourself from them, and the easier it will be to let go of these emotions. 3. Let go of your emotions. Too often, you over-identify with your emotions and cling to them for the following reasons: they're part of the story you're telling yourself. Sometimes, you can't stop clinging to a story, even a disempowering one. Yes, you can become addicted to destructive stories despite knowing they aren't helping you. You believe the emotions are you and feel a strong need to identify with them. You may fall into the trap of believing you are your emotions. As a result, you identify heavily with them, which creates suffering. Real-life example: I regularly felt that I wasn't good enough. As a result, I believed I should work harder. This belief led me to create lists of daily goals that were impossible to complete even when working from morning to night. I often fell short on my goals, which reinforced the belief that I wasn't good enough. By realizing this was just a story, I started letting go of this belief. After doing so, I noticed I was actually getting almost as much work done but without the need to struggle and feel stressed out. I'm still working on that issue, but I gained tremendous value from this process. The challenging part was to let go of the attachment to my story by letting go of the following: the belief that I'm not good enough and must work harder, the pride I feel from working harder than most people, the victim mentality that comes from working hard while not getting the results I want. The idea I'm somewhat special, the idea the world needs to be changed, and the need to control the outcome of my actions. As you can see, letting go of core emotions is not easy. They've become part of our identity, and we often derive a twisted pleasure from them. We may even wonder who we will be without them. 4. A 5-step process to let go of emotions. In his book, The Sedona Method, Hale Dwoskin explains there are 3 different ways to release your emotions as they arise. You can, 1. Let them go. When you experience negative emotions, you can consciously choose to release them rather than repressing them or clinging to them. 2. Allow them to be here. You can allow them by acknowledging their existence without clinging to them, or you can 3. Welcome them. You can accept them and have a closer look at them to discover what the core of these emotions are. According to Hale Dwoskin, the first step in each case is to become aware of your emotions as they arise. He then introduces a 5-step process to let go of your emotions. Step 1. Focus on a certain emotion you would like to work on so you can feel better. This doesn't need to be a big emotion. It could be something as simple as not feeling like working on a specific task, or being mildly annoyed about something. Step 2. Ask yourself one of the following questions. 1. Could I let this feeling go? 2. Could I allow this feeling to be here? 3. Could I welcome this feeling? Depending on which way you want to go, release, allow, or welcome, answer the corresponding question. Step 3. Then ask yourself, would I? 1. Would I let this feeling go? 2. Would I allow this feeling to be here? 3. Would I welcome this feeling? Answer yes or no to each question while being honest with yourself. Do you feel like you can let go/allow/welcome the emotion? Even a no will help you let go of it. Step 4. Ask yourself, when? Your answer will be, now. You let go of that emotion immediately. Step 5. Repeat this process as many times as necessary for that particular feeling to disappear. You may be tempted to brush off this technique as overly simplistic and ineffective. Don't do that. Try it for yourself. Remember that you are not your emotions. That's precisely by practicing letting go of them that you'll realize that universal truth. As you make a conscious choice to let go of your emotions, welcome them fully or allow them to be, you'll gain a whole new understanding of how emotions work and how to release them. Action step. Use the exercises in the corresponding section of the workbook to start letting go of your emotions. Section 3. How emotions are formed. 3. Letting go of your emotions. Make a list of all the emotions you would like to let go of. Perhaps you feel as though you aren't good enough. Perhaps you struggle with procrastination and experience guilt and shame. Maybe you blame yourself for something you did in the past, or you worry about your future. Just write down whatever comes to your mind. Now, use the method mentioned above. Select one emotion, then ask yourself, could I let this feeling go? Would I? Yes/no, when? Now, don't worry if you're not successful at first. You'll have plenty of opportunities to practice in the future. 14. Conditioning your mind to experience more positive emotions. Try to see that a thought about a person or event is merely a thought about that person or event. It is the thought about them that makes you feel the way you do. To change the way you feel, change the way you think. Vernon Howard, The Power of Your Supermind. We've discussed how emotions are formed, and we've introduced a process you can use to release your negative emotions. Now, let's see how you can condition your mind to start experiencing and intensifying positive emotions in your life. You are what you think about most of the time. For thousands of years, mystics have told us we are the results of our thoughts. Buddha allegedly said, "What you think, you become." The essayist and poet, Ralph Waldo Emerson, said, "We become what we think about all day long," while Mahatma Gandhi said, "A man is but the product of his thoughts." In his classic book, As a Man Thinketh, James Allen wrote, "Let a man radically alter his thoughts, and he will be astonished at the rapid transformation it will effect in the material conditions of his life." Men imagine that thought can be kept secret, but it cannot. It rapidly crystallizes into habit, and habit solidifies into circumstance. James Allen. To take control of your emotions, it is essential you understand the role your thoughts play in generating emotions in general. Your thoughts activate certain emotions, and these emotions, in turn, generate more thoughts. Thoughts and emotions then feed each other. For instance, if believed, the thought, "I'm not good enough," will generate negative emotions such as shame or guilt. Conversely, when you feel ashamed for not being good enough, you'll attract more thoughts in line with that belief. You will focus on the things you believe you aren't good at, or remember and dwell on past failures. This, in turn, will strengthen your erroneous belief. Thoughts generate emotions and emotions dictate your actions. If you feel you don't deserve a promotion, you won't ask for it. If you believe a man or woman is out of your league, you won't ask him or her out. In a nutshell, this is the way thoughts work. They generate emotions that dictate your actions and shape your reality. While this may not be obvious to you in the short term, in the long term, you'll realize your thoughts have a tremendous impact on your life. Thoughts and emotions determine your future. Humans possess a power no other living beings have, their imagination. We can use our thoughts to manifest things and turn the invisible into the visible. However, a thought in itself isn't enough to manifest things or circumstances. It must be fueled with an energy in the form of emotion, such as enthusiasm, excitement, passion, or happiness. For this reason, someone enthusiastic about his or her dream will achieve more than a pessimistic and unmotivated person. Successful people constantly focus on what they want with positive expectation, while unsuccessful people focus on what they don't want or what they lack. The latter are afraid of having a lack of money, talent, time, or any other resources they may need to achieve their goals. As a result, pessimists accomplish far less than they're capable of achieving. Thus, one of the most important skills you can master is your ability to control your thoughts and emotions. This entails understanding what your emotions are, how they work, and what purpose they serve. Later, we'll discuss how you can use your emotions as a tool for personal growth. Depositing positive thoughts in your mind. Confident people deposit positive thoughts in their mind each day. They celebrate their small wins and treat themselves with compassion and respect. Naturally, they expect good things to happen. On the other hand, people with low self-esteem bombard their mind with disempowering thoughts. They discard their accomplishments as no big deal and fail to recognize their strengths and the positive intent behind their actions. No wonder they feel unworthy. For more information, read section, Not Being Good Enough. Both use their thoughts to distort reality, but who do you think is better off? The person who deposits positive thoughts in their mind, or the person who dwells on negative thoughts? Does it mean positive thinking is going to solve all your problems and eliminate your negative emotions once and for all? Of course, not. Thought manipulation is simply one of the tools you can use to master your emotions. The limit of positive thinking. Repeating to yourself, "I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy," all day long won't turn you into a living Buddha. You may benefit from it, but you'll still experience negative emotions. Unless you know how to deal with negative emotions when they appear, you'll fall prey to your own disempowering story. This story could be why you're such a loser. Interestingly, people are often addicted to their story, even the negative ones, and are unable to let go of the why, because they are fundamentally flawed, will never be happy because aren't worthy of love, are never going to make it, and will never get married, and so on. I can guarantee you are addicted to a story. Now we'll discuss how you can condition your mind to experience more positive emotions. After that, we'll see how you can deal with negative emotions as they arise. Choosing the emotions you want to experience to condition your mind. The first step is to decide what emotions you want to experience more of. Do you want to be happier? More motivated? More proactive? The second step is to put in place a specific program to allow you to experience your chosen emotions. The final step is to practice feeling that emotion every day. Feeling the same emotion over and over allows you to better access it. Neuroscience has shown that experiencing the same thought or emotion repeatedly strengthens the corresponding neural pathways, easing future access to that thought or emotion. Put it simply, the more you experience an emotion, the easier it becomes to generate. That's where daily conditioning comes into play. To condition your mind to experience positive emotions, you can use the method we introduced earlier: interpretation plus identification plus repetition equals strong emotion. Here is how to use the formula in this situation. Interpretation: visualizing certain events or generating particular thoughts you see as positive. Identification: identifying with these events or thoughts by feeling the way you want to feel. To do this, you can use all the techniques we mentioned in the section, What Impacts Your Emotions, such as positive affirmations and visualization. Repetition: keep repeating the same thoughts and identifying with them. By doing so, you allow your mind to access the related emotions more easily. Below are some examples of practices you can use based on how you want to feel. 1. Gratitude. To feel more grateful, make gratitude a daily routine. Every morning, focus on what you're grateful for. The more you practice, the better you'll be able to focus on the positive side of things. Sadly, most of us know we should be grateful, but we aren't. That's why we must cultivate gratitude. As the late Jim Rohn said, our emotions need to be as educated as our intellect. Here are some exercises you can use to cultivate a feeling of gratitude. A. Write down things you're grateful for. Take a pen and a piece of paper, or even better, a dedicated notebook, and write down at least 3 things for which you are grateful. This will help you focus on the positive side of things. B. Thank people who crossed your life. Close your eyes and think of people you've met. As you picture them one after the other, thank them while acknowledging at least one good thing they did for you. If you happen to picture people you don't like, thank them anyway and still look for one good thing they did for you. It could be making you stronger or teaching you a specific lesson. Don't try to control your thoughts, simply let the faces of people you know come to your mind. Release any resentment you feel or have felt. C. Focus on one object and appreciate its existence. Select one item in your room and think of the amount of work and number of people involved in the process of creating it and delivering it to you. For instance, if you select a chair, think of all the work necessary to create it. Some people had to design it, others had to find raw materials, and others had to assemble it. Truck drivers had to deliver it to the store. The store employees had to display it and promote it. You or someone else had to go and collect it. The car you drive also had to be built by other people, and so on. Think of how you benefit from this chair. Remember a time you were so tired you couldn't wait to sit. Didn't it feel great when you could finally sit? Thanks to the chair you can not only sit, but you can also use your computer, write, read, drink coffee, or have a pleasant conversation with your friends. D. Listening to gratitude songs/guided meditation. Listen to gratitude meditation. Search gratitude meditation on YouTube. 2. Excitement. Sometimes, you lose excitement. You feel as though you're running in circles trapped in the same old routine. To generate more excitement, spend a little time every morning visualizing all the things you want. Get excited about these things. Below are several ways to do it. Please note, this should be practiced on a regular basis. A. Write down what you want. Take a pen and piece of paper and write, "What I want," at the top of the page. Then, write down anything you can think of that excites you. B. Visualize what you want. Ask yourself, what do I really want, and visualize all the things you desire. Try to be as specific as possible. Clarity is power. Think of your ideal career, relationship or lifestyle, or any goals you want to accomplish in the coming decade or beyond. C. Create a goals/dreams journal. Buy a notebook and write down your goals in each area of your life. Review them each morning and keep adding pictures, drawings or anything else to foster your enthusiasm. D. Vividly envision your ideal day. What would you eat for breakfast? How would you spend your day? With whom would you spend your day? What would you do in the evening? Where would you live? How would you feel? You can have several versions of your ideal day. Just make sure each version excites you. 3. Confidence/certainty. If you want to have more confidence in your ability to achieve your goals, visualize yourself as having already accomplished them, and feel good about it. Practice developing a sense of certainty. Commit to your vision in your mind. Each time you visualize your goal, give the energy of commitment to it. Know it's going to happen. 4. Self-esteem. To boost your self-esteem, keep track of your daily accomplishments. You do many things right, but you tend only to remember things you do wrong. No wonder your self-esteem suffers. Buy a notebook and dedicate it to this purpose. Record your accomplishments every day. Some examples of accomplishments would be: I woke on time. I ate some fruit. I cleaned my desk. I completed project A. I exercised. I completed my morning ritual, and/or I read. As you can see, you don't have to write down anything big. In fact, by writing down small accomplishments, you condition your mind to look for more wins, which, over time, enhances your self-esteem. For more exercises related to self-esteem, refer to the section, Not Feeling Good Enough. 5. Decisiveness. As you practice being more decisive, you'll boost your productivity, which will affect your well-being. As we'll see in the section, Procrastination, stalling can create a lot of emotional suffering. To become more decisive, you can use the 5-second rule, introduced by Mel Robbins in her book of the same name. In it, Mel Robbins argues there is only one rule when it comes to productivity, success, or getting everything you ever wanted: you have to do something whether you feel like it or not. If you can do the things you don't feel like doing, you'll get everything you've ever wanted. Her 5-second rule states you have 5 seconds from the moment you have an idea to the moment you take action. If you fail to act within these 5 seconds, your mind will talk you out of it. The nature of the mind is to prevent us from doing anything scary or tiring. For instance, you have 5 seconds to introduce yourself to someone you want to talk to at an event, send that important email, or ask a question during a meeting. Exercise. Strengthen your decisiveness. To practice the 5-second rule, you can start with small things. Make a list of things you procrastinate over. Perhaps you put off washing the dishes, or cleaning your home. Maybe, you delay calling someone or sending some emails. Write it down. Now, select a couple of things on which you'll use the 5-second rule. Commit to using the rule for at least a week. When you think of washing the dishes, calling someone, or anything, count down from 5 to 0, and take action before you reach 0. Common mistakes to avoid when conditioning your mind. As you condition your mind to experience more positive emotions, avoid making the following mistakes: trying to implement too many changes at once. Stick to 1 or 2 exercises for a month or so before trying any other exercises. Starting too big, keep it small and make sure the exercises aren't too challenging. Remember, taking control of your emotions is a long-term game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. To learn more about how to create an exciting morning ritual, please consult my book, Wake Up Call: How to Take Control of Your Morning and Transform Your Life. Action Step. Refer to the corresponding section in the workbook and choose the emotions you want to experience more of. Section 3. How to change your emotions. 4. Conditioning your mind. 15. Changing your emotions by changing your behavior. Action seems to follow feeling, but really action and feeling go together, and by regulating the action, which is under the more direct control of the will, we can indirectly regulate the feeling, which is not. William James, philosopher and psychologist. We've seen you can influence your emotions by using your body, mind, or words. We've also discussed how you can change your interpretations of thoughts or events to change your emotional state. Unfortunately, when negative emotions suddenly arise or are too strong, changing your body posture or using positive affirmation might not be enough. In fact, trying to replace a negative emotion by a more positive one often fails. You cannot always overcome depression by cheering up or counteract grief by deciding to just feel good. Neither can you expect profound sadness to disappear by repeating the phrase/mantra, "I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy." However, you can influence the way you feel by changing your behavior. As you alter your behavior, your feelings will change accordingly. It may happen almost immediately, as when you distract yourself from mild anger by performing a task. Or it may take weeks or even months while you deal with profound emotions such as intense grief or depression. To start changing the way you feel, whenever you experience a negative emotion, ask yourself the following questions: what causes that emotion, and what can I do about my present reality? After asking these questions, identify concrete actions you could take to change your emotional state. Remember, by nature, emotions will fade as time passes. That is, unless you reinforce them by replaying the same situation over and over in your mind. Below are some real-world examples to help you better understand how it works. Example 1. If, after your boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with you, you keep remembering the good times you had together with sadness, it will take longer to get over the breakup. Although there is nothing wrong with feeling sad or remembering the past, if you want to move on, a better option is to avoid revisiting the past wherever possible. In this case, changing your behavior would be, do your best to stop revisiting the old memories. Example 2. If you constantly worry about an upcoming presentation at work, changing your behavior might be rehearsing your speech for hours. Doing this, you'll know the text so well you'll be able to perform well even under pressure. To give yourself an even better chance at success, you could also rehearse in front of your colleagues or friends. Example 3. If you've been resenting a particular friend for weeks because of something he said or did, changing your behavior might be having an honest talk with him and share your feelings. This will allow you to clear the air, clarify any misunderstandings, and avoid building up resentment. Oftentimes, we misinterpret events or see things that aren't there. Example 4. Sometimes, you feel sad, angry, or even depressed, and can't do anything about it. In this instance, the best you can do is to avoid focusing on your feelings, and just let them be. Your job here is to do what you have to do and live your life until these emotions fade. Don't forget to practice letting go of negative emotions as they arise. As you learn to detach yourself from the negative emotions, it will help prevent them from growing and becoming more entrenched. Action step using the workbook. Let's do an exercise using an example from your life. Section 3. How to change your emotions. 5. Changing your emotions by changing your behaviors. Remember the last time you experienced a negative emotion that lasted more than a couple of days. Now, think of what you did specifically to overcome this negative emotion, if anything. Then, ask yourself, how could I have changed my behavior to influence my emotions positively? 16. Changing your emotions by changing your environment. You cannot always control your emotions. Certain events, such as a breakup, the loss of a loved one, or a severe disease, can trigger negative emotions. However, you do have control over some events. Do you have daily life situations that affect your peace of mind? What if you could do something about them? Sometimes, to reduce negative emotions you simply need to avoid putting yourself in the situations generating them in the first place. Perhaps, you watch too much TV, which makes you miserable. Or maybe, seeing your friends, seemingly, happy on Facebook makes you feel like a failure. Why not spend less time in such situations? Real life example, Facebook was making me unhappy and I felt like a failure. People in my field were killing it and my friends looked so happy, or so I thought. Not to mention the fact I was wasting hours of my time mindlessly scrolling through my news feed. To overcome this drain on my emotional bank, I drastically reduced the time I spent on Facebook. Ever since making the decision, I've been feeling better. This example shows you that small changes can enhance your well-being. If you look at the things you do daily, you'll find activities or behaviors that don't support your happiness. Just removing one or two of these activities, or changing some of your behaviors, may noticeably improve your mood. You may already know what you should do, but it's also possible you're unaware of the cost of some of your behaviors on your well-being. Below, I've listed some examples of activities or behaviors that may rob you of your happiness. Ask yourself whether they're contributing to your overall sense of well-being. Watching TV. Although watching TV can be fun, it's also a passive activity which may not contribute much to your happiness. Spending time on social media. Social media is convenient and it allows you to keep in touch with your friends, but it can also be addictive. Facebook or Twitter can turn you into an addict craving the approval of others. Hanging out with negative people. People you hang out with have a tremendous influence on your emotional state. Positive people will lift you up and help you achieve your wildest dreams. Negative people will suck up your energy, demotivate you and destroy your potential. As Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Make sure you surround yourself with the right people. Complaining and focusing on the negative. Do you constantly see the negative side of things? Do you dwell on the past? If so, how does this affect your level of happiness? Not finishing what you start, leaving tasks and projects unfinished in your personal and professional life can have a detrimental effect on your mood. Unfinished business clutters your mind. Feeling overwhelmed or demotivated is a sign you may have too many open loops in your life. Examples of open loops are unfinished projects you've been procrastinating over, or avoiding people you need to talk to. These are just a few examples. What about you? What activities or behaviors rob you of your happiness? Action step. Design a more empowering environment by completing the corresponding exercises in the workbook, Section 3. How to change your emotions, changing your environment. Use the free workbook or take a pen and paper, and write down any activities you believe may negatively impact on your emotions. Then, for each activity, write down the consequence, e.g. they make you feel guilty, they demotivate you, they erode your self-esteem, etc. 17. Short-term and long-term solutions to deal with negative emotions. No other life form on the planet knows negativity, only humans, just as no other life form violates and poisons the earth that sustains it. Have you ever seen an unhappy flower or a stressed oak tree? Have you come across a depressed dolphin, a frog that has a problem with self-esteem, a cat that cannot relax, or a bird that carries hatred and resentment? The only animals that may occasionally experience something akin to negativity or show signs of neurotic behavior are those that live in close contact with humans and so link into the human mind and its insanity. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. In this section, I will provide you with a list of exercises or techniques you can use to better deal with negative emotions. No matter how much control you have over your mind, you'll still experience a whole bunch of negative emotions in the future, from mild frustration to depression. You'd better be prepared. I've listed below some things you can do to deal with negative emotions and have included both long-term and short-term solutions. 1. Short-term solutions. The following techniques will help you manage negative emotions as they arise. Try them out, and keep the ones that work for you. A. Change your emotional state. Distract yourself. An emotion is only as strong as you allow it to be. Whenever you experience a negative feeling, instead of focusing on it, get busy right away. If you're angry about something, cross something off your to-do list. If possible, do something that requires your full attention. Interrupt, do something silly or unusual to break the pattern. Shout, do a silly dance or speak with a strange voice. Move, stand up, go for a walk, do push-ups, dance, or use a power posture. By changing your physiology, you can change the way you feel. Listen to music. Listening to your favorite music may shift your emotional state. Shout, talk to yourself with a loud and authoritarian voice and give yourself a pep talk. Use your voice and words to change your emotions. B. Take action. Do it anyway, leave your feeling alone and do what you have to do. Mature adults do what they have to do whether they feel like it or not. Do something about it. Your behavior indirectly changes your feelings. Ask yourself, What action can I take in today to change the way I feel? Then, go do it. C. Become aware of your emotions. Write it down, take a pen and paper and write down what you worry about, why, and what you can do about it. Be as specific as possible. Write down what happened, take a piece of paper and write down what exactly happened to generate the negative emotion. Don't write down your interpretation of it or the drama you created around it. Write down the raw facts. Now ask yourself, in the grand scheme of your life, is it really that big a deal? Talk, have a discussion with a friend. You may be overreacting, making things worse than they are. Sometimes, all you need is a different perspective. Remember a time when you felt good about yourself. This can help you get back in that state and gain a new perspective. Ask yourself the following questions: how did it feel? What was I thinking at the time? What was my outlook on life at the time? Let your emotion go. Ask yourself, can I let that emotion go? Then, allow yourself to release it. Allow your emotions to be. Stop trying to resist your emotions or to change them. Allow them to be what they are. Embrace your emotion, stay with your emotions. Look at them as closely as possible while doing your best to remain detached. Become curious about them. What are they exactly at their core? D. Just relax. Rest, take a nap or a break. When you're tired, you're more likely to experience negative emotions than when you are properly rested. Breathe slowly to relax. The way you breathe affects your emotional state. Use breathing techniques to calm you down, or to give you more energy. Relax, take a few minutes to relax your muscles. Start by relaxing your jaw, the tension around your eyes and the muscles on your face. Your body affects your emotions. As you relax your body, your mind also relaxes. Bless your problems, thank your problems. Understand they are here for a reason and will serve you in some way. 2. Long-term solutions. The following techniques will help you